Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello. Let's see who. Oh, here's my card. I have a little cheat sheet here of everybody's names alphabetically, so it's easier. Who are we missing? Missing Dale, Penny, Molly, and Jeff.
Penny's here.
Penny's here. Boy, did Penny, Mary Ann, and I have fun counting trees last week.
Gosh, I haven't had so much fun in a long time, Elaine. How about you?
Oh man, I got home and I had branches where I never would have expected branches to have landed in my clothes.
Wormed their way in.
Absolutely. I'm scratched all the way up my legs. I
Oh
couldn't
man.
believe it.
Well, you had the hardest task.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're all here. Wait a minute. Oh, there's Jeff. Okay. No, Molly's not here. What are we doing for time here?
And Molly's not coming.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Molly's not coming, but it's only 6:59, so I
Right.
will wait one more minute. Okay. All right. Let us call the meeting to order. It's 7 o'clock. How's everyone doing? Everyone is here, except for Molly Moss. The entire committee is here, and we are all remote. Okay, review the minute.
Is Andrea joining us tonight? Do you know?
I don't know if she's joining us. I know that she can't make it next week.
Okay, just
And I didn't remember anything about this week. So I think we can go ahead and get started.
Okay. All right. Review the minutes from the previous meetings.
so I sent out revised minutes from our
Here's Andrea.
November
Oh, good.
14th meeting. And as always, Stephen caught a few things that I had missed. Thank you, Stephen. And I've made those small corrections. I don't know if anyone else had anything to
Brad?
add.
Brad
I
had
noticed,
something.
I bet this has been caught already, but the November minutes, where am I? Middle of page 3, suggested contingencies is just very interesting way to have it spelled or capitalized.
Okay, let me open up that set of minutes. What page is it, Brad?
Page 3, starting with due to change in sighting. It's the end of the paragraph.
Page 3, one more time, where?
Page 3, and then the bullet point due to the change in sighting, OTO notes.
Yeah.
Right towards the end, suggested contingencies.
Oh, huh. Well, I can't explain that, but I can fix it.
And then in the December minutes, the 5th.
Wait, I can only.
Yeah.
Wait, let's keep in one of them at all.
Let's do the first, that one first.
Yep.
That's fine.
Okay, I thank you. I don't know, my sloppy fingers did something weird there, but I fixed that.
That's the only one I have for that one, so I'll stop there for now.
Okay,
Okay, do I hear any more changes or corrections? Do I hear a motion to approve the November minutes?
I move we approve November minutes. It's Brad.
I'll second that. That's
Okay,
Marianne.
any more discussion? Roll call vote, Antonellis,
Antonellis, aye.
Dalmas,
Almas, aye.
Foster,
Foster, I.
Poole,
Poole, aye.
Jakes,
I,
Moss, oh, is not here, Quackenbush,
Quackenbush, aye.
and Paleo, aye. Okay, now
Okay.
let's move on to the December meeting minutes.
I have one for December. Oops, I have two for December.
Okay,
I'm just seeing another. Let me mark that one. So they're both on page 2.
okay,
One is in the updated timeline, the block in the middle.
oh, I see a missing space.
Well, what I saw was, available space by, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, and then further down the last line, I love the fact that these are $82 and $32.
oh, yeah.
I think a K needs to be
okay would
added.
be good.
Stephen was ahead of you on that one. He already caught me on that.
Okay. That's all for me.
Yeah, okay.
Does anyone else have any?
That would have been a bargain.
It would have. I would have bought two. Okay, hearing nothing, do I hear a motion to approve those December 12th minutes? December 5th minutes, sorry.
I move that we approve the December 5th minutes.
That's Stephen, and I will second that. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, Antonellis,
Antonellis, aye.
Dalmas,
Almas, aye.
Foster,
Foster, I.
Poole,
Poole, aye.
Jakes,
Jake's eye.
Quackenbush,
Quackenbush, aye.
Paleo, aye. All right. We have approved the minutes. All right, the next thing we are going to do is to review the design development pricing set, and so I will send it to Dominic and Matt.
Elaine, are we gonna take public comment?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not do that. Apologize. Public comment. We have one member of the public. Jill, if you have anything you would like to comment on?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, I am very sorry. I apologize. I jumped right in. All right, thank you, Marianne. All right, so now let's review the design development pricing set.
Thanks, Elaine. Let me try and share screen here.
Oh, let me make you a co-host, Dominic.
Yeah, no problem. Thank
And
you.
while she's doing that, Penny says that was a heck of a long document to review.
That was a
642 pages.
I'm
Yeah,
glad I
with
didn't have to
the
proofread.
specifications, yes.
Oh.
And yeah, it also came in a couple of pieces, obviously, with the architectural, structural, and mechanical as one, and then we submitted recently the landscape and civil engineering drawings. So what I want to do here is really run through this page by page. I don't want to get too invested in each of the pages, but I'm happy to stop at any point for any questions. I'm expecting that you have all had a chance to review the majority of this, and you may have specific questions as I get to a certain page. So feel free to interrupt as we go. Again, in the interest of time, I want to do due diligence here, but I wouldn't want to make this a 4-hour evening. So again, we have our cover page. This obviously includes all our consultants. The next couple of pages here, the G sheets has a lot of notation explanation, the drawing sheet abbreviations, general notes, some code requirements. The next sheet is a lot of standard clearance, ADA, spatial requirements and clearances that we need to make sure we adhere to throughout the project. So that's something that we incorporate. And then we go into the civil drawings. So this first plan is of the existing conditions. We're all fairly, knowledgeable on the site, so I don't really want to go through this too much. Understanding Leverett Road is to the right here. And then we have our grading, wetland resources and buffers associated with that. The next page is the existing conditions plan with the limit of work line delineated. And then that also includes straw wattles, which helps erosion control downhill from the site. And we also have sediment, silt sock boundary around the limit of work. So that again is to contain erosion and make sure that any work that's going on doesn't, that sediment doesn't actually run off during a rain event. We've also got a recommended stockpile area here, which is kind of where materials that are brought onto site, specifically landscape, is stockpiled here and controlled. We have a construction entrance outlined here. So now going into site grading drainage plan. This has been tweaked a little bit from when you last saw it. But basically we have Leverett Road to the right. The entrance driveway has been shifted further to the east. Penny, I see your hand raised. I'll just stop
I'm wondering if you can change the format of your screen share so the document the page you're focusing on is all we see. Just it's really hard to see very much. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. I'm not sure if I am doing the screen. I don't know if this is a little bit better.
That's better.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
I just had a little tile going on the left here.
Yeah.
So we have the entry drive that is negotiating the septic field, leading into a turnaround. We have a drop off here to the building. The stormwater management plan is really working around two major basins. So the intent here is to capture water from the site into a few drains. As I have my cursor here at the higher level of the parking lot, it's going to be captured and then siphoned down to a level spreader into this basin. And then from there, it's going to be caught and drained off to this lower level spreader where the intent here is really to control water and to be able to distribute it back into the wetlands and this portion of the site slowly. We're looking at capturing water at the entrance at Leverett as well and bringing it back to this drain that I'm highlighting here. Moving to the west side of the site, we have the well located on the western side here. Water that's captured here is going to be caught in this basin. There are some entry points to collect water at this location, and then again controlled and discharged at this level spreader here. Roof is going to also collect rainwater. We have two downspouts at two locations here on the western side. We have a downspout to the south and north of the entry roof. Those are going to be collected and then brought into this basin here. We are, in addition to those downspouts, where the majority of rainwater off this roof is going to be collected with a drip strip that you see highlighted here. So that's all going to be, there's details for that. That's basically a gravel assembly that allows the water to go down into a perf pipe and captured that way. These basins, we do have an emergency spillway with reinforcement matting here. This is going to be finished so that you would only see grasses, but this is basically a lower portion of this basin that if anything ever failed here with this drainage system, that the water is allowed to escape in a controlled manner. We have that condition at this basin as well. And that's a high level review. I'm just looking at a few other details here. We've got a tight tank and septic tank that's associated with the waste that's going to connect down to the leaching field. We do have a retaining wall. So the intent, sorry, as I'm scrolling in and out, I just wanted to scroll out a second here. You can see the wetlands and the associated 20-foot buffer. We were trying to stay away from that, or, you know, really squeeze this project in between those. There's a slight encroachment here, which would be temporary as far as the project work, but we would look to, you know, reseed and recover this zone again. This is something that we'll be negotiating with Conservation Commission. But by locating this building and site, the building and driveway between these conditions, these wetlands buffers, we were motivated to not use a Caltech stormwater tank system under the driveway, which we had in schematic design. Because we have a high water table, we understood that this reservoir, it's a strategy to be able to collect rainwater. But because we have a high water table, it would need to be ballasted, and that's a high cost endeavor. And also a lot of the pipe work would need to be higher spec. So there was a large add cost there. So the high strategy for stormwater was really to rely on these basins to be able to make drainage work on the site. We needed to raise the parking round. And because of that, we have a change in grade that's close to this site boundary. So we need a retaining wall here, which is, it's under 30 inches. But that is a new inclusion that we have now for the site and grading. That's a high level. I kind of wanted to get a little bit into this plan. I'm ready to move on. There's still more civil drawings coming.
Dominic, before you go on,
Yeah.
one thing to mention about that retaining wall on that edge of the property is that based on the size of the building, we think we're actually only obligated to provide 12 spaces to meet the 1 car for every 400 square feet. So we're currently showing 13, which means if we eliminate that last space, that easternmost parking space, we think we can tighten up the overall driveway radius and pull further away from the property line on that side, or at least that would be our goal. Don't know if that's enough to eliminate the retaining wall altogether, but we would look at grading there to see if there's enough room to do that, you know, to grade that rather than to have to build a small wall there.
There's a lot of expense in that wall. I noticed it's got 5 feet of foundation buried under it, a lot of steel in it. So I would recommend getting rid of that space and doing what you're saying, Matt.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that we lose that space. I think we can tighten up the driveway. Whether that's enough to get enough distance to get the grading to work, we'll have to see. Hopefully it is.
I
I don't know if you guys have talked about that yet with Fuss and O'Neill, but
Yeah, it had been mentioned. with Stimson, the landscape architects, and Fuss and O'Neill as a strategy to relieve the need for that retaining wall.
Yep.
Moving on. So the next plan is site utility plan. We're seeing some of the same elements here, but really this plan is outlining how the utilities are going to be brought into the site. We had two, I guess, utilities priced. One was by a underground conduit duct bank, which would bring electrical and telecom in to the building with a below grade duct bank. And the second add alt is to go with overhead poles. So we would bring electrical and telephone in with overhead wires to the transformer, and then from there into the building.
What would be the route if it was overhead? Not that-
Overhead, we would bring it across to the east side.
Got it.
Yep. And I think we may need a pole. We have to still work out what that would look like, but the intent would be to bring it over to the east side to kind of free up this side of the drive, walkway, parking. Yep. So that's really it for electrical service. You can see the limit of work does, captures the work that we would need to tie in to the existing utilities that we have across the street there.
Dale has a question.
Dominic, so is this overhead right to the building itself?
No, it'll go to this concrete, the transformer here.
And then underground from that point to the building?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We have the electrical service room on the southeast corner here. Yep. So that would be this duct bank.
Okay.
Yep. Moving on. This is a pavement marking plan. So pretty simple, this one. But really, you've got to show the detail of how we're going to mark out the entry drive parking lot. It also outlines some of the signage that we need: accessible parking signs, one-way signage to direct traffic. Pretty generic, stock standard here as far as white painted pavements, some arrows. Moving on. We have some construction details. I'm not going to go through all of these specifically unless you have questions, but just to highlight this retaining wall. I think, Jeff, you'd mentioned this, so you can see here the detail. This is not to scale because it doesn't have the elevation, so I think this is taller than what we need. The intent was to keep this. Fuss and O'Neill tried, they did a lot of work to keep this below 30 inches so that we don't need a guardrail. So this is potentially something that we can omit here. It's carried in this detail, but we'll coordinate with them. And potentially we may not even need it. Silt fence, this is again some of this erosion control details. Some more details here. Drainage manhole, this is all pretty standard detailing. This, I just wanted to quickly highlight here. This is the emergency spillway. Again, this is reinforced matting that you would see in the general vicinity of the basin to one side, and then where the water would spill over. And again, this will be overseeded. The next detail, the next page, sorry, has some additional details with some outlet control structures. These we would see at the basins where we collect water and then divert water to the level spreaders beyond the the basins. I did want to highlight this stormwater treatment. This system we have in 2 or 3 locations around the site, and this is a requirement because we're in the vicinity of wetlands. This is a sediment controlled device. It's like a manhole, but within it has a filtration system. And it's basically because we have the type of soils on site and the surrounding wetlands that we're, discharging to, we need to clean the water, basically, control sediment. Moving on, sorry, I think that concludes the civil. Moving into landscape. So this landscape plan is really highlighting materials. So we have asphalt, entry drive, we have concrete, pathways, gravel, entry walkway, and then over or spillover parking, some concrete block paving, some fine grain gravel, I believe here. DC was
dust.
yeah, decomposed granite, so stabilized gravel or dust. Yeah. So more the hardscape definition of hardscape here. We do have a vehicular barrier that is required because of this retaining wall. So this is an add cost and an additional element to the site that we may be able to remove if we can finagle this portion of the plan. Moving on to the planting plan.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Can you blow that up again? Around the back side of the parking where it's kind of a half circle, do we need,
This
is that
side?
a kind of concrete sidewalk?
Yes.
Do we need that?
We do for accessibility. Well, you could do crushed stone. I think maintenance is a consideration in the snow. We
Oh,
will need ADA access to every parking stall.
It could,
I don't-
it could certainly be asphalt, not concrete, right?
Yeah, it could.
okay.
We
Everybody
should
else
ask,
is
it's a good
walking
question, and we should ask
Yep.
our consultants, because I'm just thinking about Norwell, for instance, or Eastham. We don't have a sidewalk along the perimeter of the parking lot. We just there's an accessible path on the asphalt parking lot surface itself, so you can get from your car to the front door. And I would think, to Jeff's point, that we could probably simplify that and eliminate that whole section potentially of sidewalk and just have people walk on the driveway. I mean, it's a pretty low traffic spot. We need to keep the sidewalk around the building because that has to do with egress from the building out to a public way, and we're kind of defining the public way as the driveway and the sidewalk in front of the building. But I would think we could probably eliminate some of that, if not all of that.
Potentially this, what I'm highlighting here.
Yeah.
And are you blacktopping all of this?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, asphalt's going to be the most cost-effective and easily maintained surface, I think, for you guys. It's plowable. We've looked at pervious asphalt on projects, and typically it gets ruled out because of maintenance concerns. It has to be vacuumed at least once a year, otherwise the pores in the asphalt clog up and it basically becomes impervious. So asphalt tends to be the most effective and reasonably priced surface. And meets ADA accessibility. That's the other thing. The lot will have to be accessible.
I also wanted to mention that we have a precast concrete curb. That is, we do need a curb edge on this eastern side because of the way the stormwater is working, and grading and drainage needs to sheet to the east. So this is another element that we've included here, and we're looking at alternates for what that could be potentially. We were holding on to granite initially, but that's a high spec material. So we've knocked it down to precast concrete, but potentially there are other ways that we can do this as well.
Could it be a Cape Cod berm?
That's right.
That's one
Okay.
of the things we're considering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cape Cod berm is a little more vulnerable when you're
Right.
plowing.
Yep.
But unlike precast or granite, it's relatively inexpensive to repair too.
Yep.
So moving to the planting plan, starting with the grasses, we have 4 different types: New England wildflower mix, New England restoration mix, woodland mix, and a warm season grass mix. And they're distributed in different zones. A key note here is that the retention basins are not able to be planted with any wooded vegetation, so no trees or plantings, because they start to affect how the stormwater works. So these basins will be disguised. The modulation of the grading will be disguised with the grasses. I think maintenance will require mowing, I believe, twice a year of these. And then throughout, we're looking at, planting trees, natives throughout. Some screening happening here on the east side. Some screening again of the septic field, and then trying to meet Conservation Commission remediation or mitigation strategies here. Penny.
I've brought this up a couple of times, but I am concerned about planting trees so close to the building if you're hoping for solar gain. Is that being considered in the planting plan?
It has. We did mention, I'm going to double check again with Stimson on that, on the caliper of these.
Well, not
There
so
may
much the
need to be
caliper,
some
but
maintenance.
the height, the
It's
end height of the
maintenance.
trees
Right,
when they reach maturity.
right. That's right. We will need to, there would be a maintenance plan, is my guess, to some of these. But let me double check again, Penny.
Penny, you mean as it relates to potential shading of the solar,
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
My understanding is you need to keep trees 100 feet, or I've heard different things, at least 50 feet from the building.
Well, it depends on the height of the tree, right?
Well, yes, exactly. So that's my question. What is the ultimate height of the tree?
Yep. I'll get a specific answer to you, Penny, on that. Yep.
One thing just to point out too, graphically, this drawing, because of the limit of work line, it sort of reads like there's a very strong division between what's being planted within the limit of work and then what the sort of vegetated condition is outside that limit of work. It won't be such a dramatic change. This makes it look like, this is all very sort of kind of elaborately handled, and then beyond that it just sort of drops off. And I think the idea is that line blends, and that the grasses that are planted in the limit of work area blend in with the buffer around the wetlands, so that it this is maybe a little bit of a misleading drawing in that sense.
So moving on, some details here, pretty generic, conditions here of how to treat new plantings. you need to excavate obviously down to a prepared subgrade and then introduce compacted soils, to facilitate establishment of different plantings. Moving on, some more details here. Things like the bike rack, some trash receptacles. Again, we can go over a lot of these details in CDs specific to, to meet your needs. An entry sign we're holding for pricing that's going to be down at Leverett Road. This is the vehicular guardrail that we've introduced around the parking turnaround near the site boundary. The curb condition, and some paving, and other details. Moving on to structural, kind of front end drawing, abbreviations again. We have some snow load diagrams here, just confirming that the structure meets all the requirements again. Footings and foundation details. We will have a couple of pipe penetrations through footings for water lines, some of the utilities as well coming into the building below grade. Footing design. And then we have some structural wall details here, ensuring that the shear walls that we have are constructed in a certain way. Some connection details. Again, some more details, more to the roof. We've got this overhang detail here where we need some additional bracing. We need 2x cord condition that helps brace the roof. Here we have the foundation plan. There's a couple of column locations here that you can see here and here. They get highlighted on another plan. The next plan is the wall framing. So you can see our shear conditions. Grid line 2 is really the spine of the building. This wall is a shear condition. We have some openings within that wall that are going to be spanned with LVLs. So we own some LVLs there for those spans. We have perpendicular shear conditions that are generally held on this eastern side of the building. This is also a shear wall here on F line. And then roof framing. We have glue lambs throughout the ridge condition, which is the top portion of framing, and everything. The gable is framed off that. You can see some of the column conditions that we have here. And then we go into some column connections. Going to have steel subassembly base plate condition with some exposed fasteners. This is a nice detail that we've used before, where you expose some of the steel elements, and there's a nice marriage of wood to a steel base connection here. Here we have some elevations. I'll kind of fly through them again. It's really outlining the framing requirements for the shear walls. You read the gable profile here and the framing requirements for different conditions throughout the building. and a structural detail of the upturned roof. So again, these rafters are going to bear on the exterior envelope shear wall and tie into the roof rafter coming down that's holding the gable roof. The back span will bear into that shear wall running along grid line 2. So moving into architecturals, not a lot has changed here. We did try to add and hold additional detailing. I think millwork, we really tried to kind of put a bit of work there and own some scope. But generally from our last review, there has not been a lot of revision here. So I'll try and fly through these a little bit. There's the attic plan that you don't see often, but it's nice to see here to highlight where we have the mechanical space. This is somewhat diagrammatic because portions of this teen ceiling will be low enough to allow us to run ductwork behind here. But this is to show that we have a sloping ceiling condition to the east. So this is the upturned roof here. The vestibule will have a sloping roof out teen as well. And the study room has a larger window condition that we are also, the reading in that room will also, the ceiling in that room will also pitch out with the high exterior.
I think you got some contradictions on this drawing versus your reflected ceiling. So just check that over later.
Sure.
Okay.
I think that will be the next. So we have roof and then RCP. This is the roof plan showing the zones for photovoltaic. We're going to have a metal rain diverter at this notch condition. So that's going to collect rainwater sheeting down and off to either side. And we'll have the drip strip from the M grid line to the N, and then also between G and J here. We have 2 downspouts with a gutter condition, controlling rainwater to a couple of exit points here. We have that lobby exit and the meeting room exit. Continuous PV zone on the eastern roof with the upturned roof. We have crickets here, cricketed roof insulation to divert water left and right to these downspouts. This is the finished floor plan. So here, starting from children's, we have resilient flooring in most of children's with a carpet inset. This can also be a carpet overlay, but we wanted to own some carpet here for the reading space here in children's. Study also has resilient flooring. Adults, reading nook and directors has carpet. Teens and staff workroom and storage has resilient flooring. And then we have tile from circulation desk, circulation, reception, browsing, library of things, and lobby. Restrooms have tile. The vestibule has a walk-off mat. And then we have resilient again in meeting room, storage, and book drop. We will finish the concrete and electrical and water service. Yes, Brad.
The resilient flooring, is that, I don't know how to put it. Is that washable? If we have crafts in one of the rooms with resilient flooring, will that deal well with that?
Yes, it will. It's highly resilient and resistant to cleaning agents. It's probably the most versatile as far as being, able to resist wear.
Great, thank you.
Yep. We also have these, and I think we've assigned different color select or finish selections for these. So we own, so that we can treat rooms in differently. We also have a carpet inlay reading nook to highlight that zone. Moving on. So here's the RCP, the reflected ceiling plan. Generally, we have open to structural decking, the roof decking in children's, adults, meeting room, and the lobby. This eastern portion will be finished with a dropped ceiling, acoustic ceiling tile. In most of these zones, we have drywall, hard drywall in the restrooms. Again, teens and the study room will have a pitched interior ceiling. The vestibule will also have a pitched wooden ceiling. And then we have opened a structure in these ancillary spaces here, electric storage and book drop. Didn't feel the need to have a ceiling there. We don't need it for code. Similarly, in water service and storage, open to decking above. The staff workroom will have acoustic ceiling tile. You can also see here the acoustic baffles that take up the structural bay. So they run parallel to the structure. And in addition, we have track lighting. So we're starting to represent here an own scope for lighting. We have track lighting in these open exposed ceilings, recessed downlights in reception circulation, some linear in these other spaces. The meeting room, we also have some wall grazing, articulated lighting, and we are owning some decorative suspended fixtures in the lobby.
I think Brad has a question.
Sorry, I forgot to take it down.
Oh, okay, no problem. We have some exterior lighting as well that we're going to incorporate, or that we're owning right now to incorporate in the porch roof. Moving on. So to the exterior elevations, this describes the finish materials that we have. So predominantly slate building. We have Accoya wood siding in certain moments. You can see here on the west elevation, the notch, the staff room. Eastern elevation is the entry will be highlighted with that material. Metal standing seam roof. And there's some, there'll be metal trim associated with that roof edge condition. Exposed wood decking, underside of eaves. And the water table condition is concrete faced insulation, which continues around the whole envelope. You can see here the composition of windows and which are operable. We have awning windows throughout, giving the user flexibility in all rooms for natural ventilation opportunity. Dale.
So would Pella or a similar company be able to supply all of the windows for this project, or will you be looking for multiple suppliers on just the glass itself?
All from Pella,
All from
including the vestibule. So the vestibule doors, all the door exterior and door conditions will be Pella as well.
And so in what color are you thinking of cladding this stuff?
So We are currently holding, so Pella is our basis for design, and we're working with them on a aluminum clad wood system. So the
Yes.
interior would be wood. We often like a lighter maple finish on the interior, and the exterior will be aluminum clad. And we're still working through what color choice we go with. We
Okay.
like kind of a light medium gray, I think would work nicely with the color palette that we have. But that's kind of, it gives us that opportunity. Interior is wood, exterior will be a metal finish. Yeah. That color choice will tie in with a lot of the metal trim. So we kind of bring in unity there with the color palette.
And we've had pretty good success with Pella on a number of projects. We've obviously we have to list 3 manufacturers. Pella has been our basis of design on a number of projects, and we tend to get that as our first choice. We had one exception back in probably 10 years ago where they substituted a different manufacturer that wasn't even one of the ones that we listed, but we feel pretty confident that Pella can be competitive with their pricing.
Yeah. This page is.
They are.
This page is taking a second to load. Hang on here. Oh, it woke up. Apologies. This must be a heavy page. I may switch to a different presentation program. All right.
There you go. It's all the hatches, probably.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it's just this sheet. I have this set on another program ready to go. Hopefully it plays nice for a second. But I'm ready to go with another program if we need. So this, so we have some building sections here. These are great to start to understand the interior spaces and relationships between different rooms. In our drawing set, we really use these to key other details. So from here, you can key exploded section details of different conditions. So again, you have multiple sections through east and west, from the vestibule, moving to adults. Here we have reception, and then a view of children's above, which is taking a second to load. This may give us a little. I wonder if it's just that these 2 sheets. What I might do is switch though.
It's going to draw it for us.
Yeah. Okay. Can everybody see that? I've switched up.
Yes.
Sorry, I wasn't patient anymore. So I just wanted to quickly show you teens here so you can see the relationship here of the upturned ceiling condition, which matches the entry roof. Then we have some longitudinal sections through the building. This is a great way, again, to get a sense of the relationship of spaces from meeting room, lobby, library of things, adults and children's. I'm sorry, this is not the library of things. You're actually cutting through the staff workroom here in this section. And then the next one down is stepping back into the circulation zone. So you see the library of things centered here, the circulation desk condition. Again, you're keying into some some additional details. Then the next section is looking to the east. So children's, adults, with a reading nook, circulation space with the director's office, teens room, the bathrooms, lobby, and the meeting room. We're representing acoustic drywall that you see here in this hatch. That's what you're seeing here for the meeting room. And then the next one, you get a sense of the plenum space above that we have. Then moving on, you have some wall sections. So again, here we're capturing scope and detailing the wood siding versus the shingle siding, how the roof intersects. Here we're highlighting the upturned roof condition. This section's taken through the restrooms. There's another blow up. This I've presented to you guys a month or so ago to outline how we're cricketing and treating and finishing this upturned roof condition. And we have more sections, detail sections there coming up. More unique conditions around the building. This one on the left is through the meeting room. So this is going to be floor to ceiling window condition on the west side. This is the children's room where we have a shelving niche condition with a clear story window. This is at the building at the notch condition here. So the relationship of the head of the window with the relative structure and how this all finishes. And then another one at children's. This is the north wall of children's. This is a section through teens. Yes, Stephen.
Yes, so the section through teens, I was looking at that closely, and I'm trying to understand how the reverse roof section is insulated to be, say, compatible with the rest of the insulation. You know, you've got the 7 inches of rigid coming down, and that stops. And then I'm not seeing much additional insulation.
Yes, at this location here.
Right.
Yep. We're still reviewing this with Bala to make sure that we meet all the requirements here. So this is something that we're still looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, Stephen, it may be that in this location we have to extend that. I can't remember what the thickness is on the roof, but extend
7
that down into the cricket and have that sort of merge into the tapered insulation that we have in that location. We've got to work through that particular detail, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess from my understanding, you know, without the insulation being consistent, then the roof temperature could shift dramatically in that area, which could lead to ice damming. But you're still studying it, so thank you.
Yes. Yep. So that's the teens. Again, the window we are treating with a mullion fin extension. So that's going to highlight this window, which we're showing here. This is the vestibule section. So you have the outer door and the inner door to create the vestibule. We're finishing the ceiling with an upturned condition that's matching the porch roof, the upturned roof that you see here.
Can you review the amount of insulation you've got in there? You're running all your water piping through that cavity. above those doors, and I'm concerned about
Oh,
free.
here.
Yeah,
Yep.
if you look at your plumbing drawing, that's where all your,
Yep.
we had a problem at UMass where we always froze the damn pipes right through there.
Yep. No problem.
That plenum space is gonna be conditioned the same as any other space that's under the roof, right?
That's
Because
right.
Yeah,
the
except people.
thermal envelope is the roof and the walls. So anything below the roof is gonna be the same kind of thermal condition, whether it's in that space that where Dominic's cursor is, or it's out in the kind of public space from a thermal performance standpoint.
Yeah, our concern or problems were lots of people coming in the vestibule, they get super cold when it's like 5 degrees outside.
Right.
I mean, we might want to look, Dominic, at increasing the insulation level at the ceiling of the vestibule. And also we can talk to Bala about piping that goes through that space. Maybe for that short distance, they insulate that piping in addition.
Yep.
I think both of those are a good idea.
Yeah. Then moving on to the cricketing and upturned roof. This is really getting into a lot of detail as far as how the metal seam roof is going to be detailed and the flashing at end conditions. This is the detail I presented to you in a previous meeting. And then we have a similar condition. This is the more regular roof eave condition that we have around the whole building. Next is interior elevations. I'll kind of fly through these a little bit and just highlight the major spaces. We have the meeting room, highlighting the kitchen and acoustic drywall up here. You can see the west elevation here where you have the ganged windows and exit door adjacent to potential hanging space here. The presentation wall is this one I'm highlighting here. Some back of house spaces. There's a detail of the library of things highlighted here that we will see later on in the set. Moving on. We have the adults room. Some cleanup on some of these drawings. On this one here has already happened. Again, acoustic drywall in these upper portions of adults and children's. You can see wall shelving, window assemblies. This is the condition of the study carrel on the west wall, tucked in between wall shelving with a nice tall glaze condition there. Again, just to orientate you as well, I skipped over this. We have obviously material keys down low here, and then all the device mounting heights. Self-explanatory, but we key them at the bottom of the page, and that gives you a good resource of where those need to be installed. And again, some children's spaces at the end here. The next sheet is documenting our interior glazing. We're working with Metro Wall, who we are using as basis for design here. There's going to be some revisions about where we divide our mullion system here. So we're still working through that. But we give a page specific to those, to interior glazing. Next, we get into millwork. So here we have the kitchenette in the meeting room down low and some sections through it. We're holding on to a microwave and a fridge, below counter fridge. we're also detailing the staff workroom closet. So again, Marianne, we'll review this through CDs as far as your exact needs and how you would like to use this closet. Potentially, you don't need so many shelves. The details we can go through later. The circulation desk is detailed on this next page. So this is a plan, and from that you can then refer to elevations all 4 sides. We also have a below counter plan cut, which highlights what's happening under the counter. So on this side here, we have the book cart, and books will be able to be returned through a book slot on this side, here above this book cart. That way staff can remove this book cart this way, still allow the staff member to sit here. And we have drawers over here. We have a grommet currently located with an outlet below the counter. Again, Marianne, something we can, fine tune as to your needs, so that you can have a computer station or a laptop or whatever devices on the counter. This circulation desk has 2 levels. There's kind of a privacy condition here, as you can see from this elevation.
So can I just ask one question? Well,
Mhm.
it's probably going to be 3 or 4. So the circulation desk, so people will come in and that return slot is on the side of the circulation desk and not the front.
That's right.
And then the front of the desk is up higher at that point. Okay.
That's right.
And that slot could be on the front of the desk. I'm just thinking people have a hard time finding the return slot now. And if the return slot is tucked, around the side of the desk, but I guess they'll be walking directly towards the desk, won't they?
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay.
I think.
I saw that Andrea had her hand up. So
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yep.
So the privacy screen, is that like a lip that's above where the surface is of the counter?
Yes. So it's kind of described here in this section.
Yes.
So
So
it's
we
about
would like
8
that
inches.
removed. It's an ergonomic nightmare for the librarians and staff to be able to lift up and put books over that. So it should just be a straight countertop if possible.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That sounds good, Andrea. I just wanted to highlight that we do have a low condition where we would hope, or we were initially thinking of book transactions to kind of happen there and offer the staff, somewhere where they can put coffee mugs or pens and stuff. But we can very easily revise this and just have flat countertop throughout.
Yes, because if they have the tray and, keyboard tray or whatever it may be, anything that they have on that desk and they have to move diagonally, we just don't want repetitive motions and things to cause injury. So if we could remove it, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention to Andrea is that this is intended to be, movable. So not fastened to the ground, at least. It won't be on casters, but it's something that you can make sure to be able to move.
Thank you.
Yeah. So moving on, we're also detailing the self-checkout station, which is next to the circulation desk. We also have a portion here allocated for the print station, and then this is all combined with the adults computer station. So one of these will house a computer, whereas the other one is a flex seating station or for an laptop device. Grommets we're still working through this. I think we'll need to include a few more grommets here for cable management, so that the outlets below counter can facilitate easy organization of wires. We have storage looking at the elevation here. This is looking this way. So you're looking at the printer station. There's a raised, this gray kind of this crossing of solid gray is a elevated condition that you can kind of see here. So again, you have somewhat of a privacy condition for the people sitting at the adult computers. Brad, I see you have a question.
If you have grommets, is that to have the cabling go through the grommet and be plugged in below?
That's right.
I wonder whether that makes as much sense if you're planning for a laptop, because laptops are going to be plugged in and unplugged and moved.
That's right. That would be a little more cumbersome for the laptop station. As you are highlighting, it's more helpful for a stationary computer or a desktop or a printer, in these self-checkout. So we can revise that, potentially locate. I'm looking at the ability to do conduit runs in a back box. We don't have a lot. We were struggling with space, and initially I was reluctant to try and get a back box in here so that we could have an outlet up above the counter. But I can revisit this.
Dominic, we could do a tabletop flip up.
That's right. Yeah, outlet
makes them. There
Yep.
are a number of manufacturers.
That's right.
And I think that might also make sense for the circ desk. I don't remember if we were doing the same thing grommet to a plug below the desk, but it might be easier for staff if there was a flush condition that sort of pops up that allows you to plug in.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a combination of the two. So if there's a fixed workstation that sort of plugs in below, but you have access to power at the surface of the desk.
Yep.
To charge your phone or something like that.
Yep.
And for the laptop bar, I think that probably makes sense too.
Yep. Yeah, excellent. We can get that in. That kind of solves that issue. Nice. So then moving on, we are detailing the library of things. So I think the only addition, Marianne, here is we're looking a little bit more closely about how we could incorporate a coat hanger rail or rod that could simply sit in front of shelving to give you the flexibility in off season. Potentially you could remove that rod. We're still fine tuning this, but that rod could be removed so that you have access to shelving behind. And then when you do want to display the life vests, you can put those rods back on. We need to do a little bit more investigation about what these coat rod brackets could be. If it's something that could latch in and maybe latch out, it'd be great to remove them altogether if you're not, to clean up that wall if you are not hanging life vests. So that's kind of our thinking there. This is all to be treated in millwork. So
could they, so it looks to me like they extend out over, so then there would be stuff underneath there and people would have life vests hanging over their head. Could those rods attach to the back wall so that the life vests are recessed?
They could.
Not sticking out all,
yes.
far.
Yep. So I think we could do that. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm just zooming in here to the elevation. I think this would be easier way to describe it. So you're saying, currently they would be hanging here.
Right.
So the way that we've detailed this is that these verticals are fixed and that the shelving can be adjustable so that in each one of these bays, the shelving can be put where you want. So I think what we might do is terminate that condition at this horizontal so that you have that down here. And then above, we reconsider how we detail this. Potentially, we have one vertical. We'll look at it.
Okay,
And then basically recess that rod.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. So we're kind of getting to the end of architecture. We have some exterior wall assembly details here for the different finishes, slate, wood, and an alternate stud cavity condition. And then again, interior partitions. I'm going to kind of go through these fairly quickly. The floor, we have the finish schedule, which we kind of went over already in the plan. We have details for the window assemblies. We're coordinating with Pella on all of these. How we're going to gang them together. What are the details associated with that? Where are we going to have the extruded fin to articulate these window assemblies? The door schedule, we're currently working with our door consultant, door hardware consultant. That's another conversation to be had with you, Marianne, through CDs. Different door types that we have on the job. Some details associated with the exterior windows. And then the furniture plan. Again, nothing has changed here. We're just recording. This is not so much for the construction, for the GC for construction, but really it's a good reference for what we're doing with FF&E. And then moving on to mechanical. So plumbing, we always have the front end of abbreviation, explanations, general notes, capturing some scope. Some details here. I think we will need some clean outs. And we have one floor drain, I believe. Getting into these plans, this is the predominant plumbing plan. So the water service room here has electric water heater. And this is ET, I forget what that was. Electric tank. I'll get back to you on that. It's captured in the pages above. So the water treatment is still being negotiated. We still have to coordinate with the well specification. So once we get that all coordinated, then the water treatment will be located here. Again, it's just highlighting fixtures. We have a sink at the kitchenette and then bathrooms and water dispenser on this wall here. This is a below floor plan that shows you the penetrations where we're bringing water in and out. You can see the tight tank here. Moving on. So next is mechanical.
Dominic, what's the tight tank holding?
Septic. So it's a fail safe for the septic system. So if there's an issue with the septic system, you have a septic tank as well. And
Okay.
that collects before it goes to the leaching field. But the tight tank, as I understand it, is a fail safe. If that system fails, it gives you a few more, a day or two or whatever. The tight tank would need to be cleaned manually. I think you'd need to get somebody in there to pump that out. Stephen.
Two quick questions. The water heater, is that a heat pump water heater?
Yes.
Okay, and then is I don't know the term for it, but is the hot water continuously circulating? So when you turn on the hot water at a remote location, it's hot almost instantly?
I believe so. I'll get that. I'll ask the plumber and make sure to
Okay.
get that to you. Yep.
Thank you.
So
Uh,
Oh,
Dominic,
yeah, I'm sorry, Dale. Yep.
a quick question. So does this tight tank, this fail-safe tight tank, does this
Yep.
meet specific regulation? Is this a requirement that needs to be met for this tank?
I believe so, yeah. Yep. Yep. We're still coordinating the location of these as well. I think we would have them a little bit off center here. We have some planting, so there's some coordination required still with that. So here we have HVAC, mechanical. There's not a lot has changed here. We've just incorporated more detail for pricing. We have the condensing units. We are still coordinating this. I think this arrangement can be consolidated a little bit. I don't like the way that they're located here, so there's more coordination to go here. We have the ERVs, are the energy recovery units. We have them located here in the plenum space, and they basically circulate air. Then we have the fan coil units for the specific spaces which do the heating and cooling. A lot of the major spaces, again, the same strategies as we've shared earlier. The meeting room, lobby, adults and children's will be served from linear diffusers on the wall on grid line 2. We have some perimeter heat trench heaters. These are electric fan forced, so they circulate the air that's already in the room. They collect the cool air. There's natural ventilation of the cool air coming down to them at the windows. That's a cool condition, heats the air, and then discharges hot air back up at these critical window locations. We also have a heating source in the vestibule, specific to the vestibule.
Dominic, before you move off of that,
Yeah.
do we have enough space above that ceiling and below the rafters to access valves, filters, God knows what else? It looks like they're all sandwiched in there pretty tight. And
Yeah,
you know,
that-
that
it
obviously
was
some of that is contractor coordination, but we got to give them a big enough envelope to fit everything in.
yeah, it was a talking point at a coordination meeting, and I think it needs to be fine-tuned. We will need some access panels in this space currently. The rest is ACT, so we were talking about, you know, we've increased the size of the ACT panels to allow for access. But as you say, you know, there's overlap here. There's a lot of spaghetti of ducting here. So
And we're not providing a walkable deck, if you will,
correct.
to lay all this out on, right?
That's
This is
right.
just suspended above a drop, and that's a hard ceiling in there. Is that right?
This is a hard ceiling right now. Reception and circulation space. Everything else is ACT. So we will have some access panels.
We have a lot of access panels.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna have any room for the JIP.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, we hope that we can consolidate some. It depends, again, left and right of these units, as you say, filters and maintenance.
don't forget you got to get to the balancing dampers at the beginning. They're all over the place.
Yep. That's definitely a coordination effort that we're still working through, and CDs will definitely flush that out. We'll evaluate access panels here. You know, if it becomes, littered with access panels, we were going to reconsider that hardship. That's for sure.
Is there a possibility, Dominic, to move the units outside of that area and put it above the drop ceiling? The ACT?
I think we have an acoustic consultant on board as well, and there's acoustic considerations there, being in a public space compared to if it were in teens. I think we're restricted in teens spatially, potentially staff workroom. We'll revisit that. On the top of my head, there was a reason why we did. I think it was acoustic, but there may be another issue. We have more clearance here.
That's also where we've got the most room.
Seeing it
Yeah.
laid out that way, I'm very concerned that you're not going to have the space above the ceiling for the units and for access.
Yeah.
And below it, you're going to have access panels everywhere.
Yeah, the access panels is something that's a little bit of an unknown to me, but my sense, page 64, is that this central plenum space is where we have the most room. So, duly noted though, Neil. Good point, and we will continue to coordinate.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was I, 57? So here we go, 64. So moving on. Some details. We do have intake and exhaust for the ERVs. We're still working on detailing those conditions. Currently, we have the intake above the director's office. We're looking to incorporate a louver system that would read as part of the window, above the window. So we're looking at detailing that here. And then we have an exhaust louver, which is coming out of the south wall of the storage room here. We still have to do our homework on how that's going to get detailed. I was just reminded this is the louver detail that we have. So we're still working through some coordination elements. These are mechanical details in general, kind of fly through them. Here are the schedules.
Back up a sheet.
Sure.
Back one more.
Oh, yeah. Back to these.
Yeah, how come you're bringing all these pipes underground? I know why they're underground, but why are you bringing them all the way around the corner of the building? Why can't you come in from the south wall?
Because we don't have a lot of wall thickness to run all that. We looked at running them through the wall.
You can't come
with insulation. Yeah, that would have to be exposed in the room, and we're trying to keep them clean. So
no, a lot above the electric room from the south wall. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, so this way here.
Exactly.
Yes, we could potentially do that depending on we may need to do a drop ceiling if we bring those in.
Why?
Because you're in going through an electrical room. I'm not sure exactly on the code. Running that piping, refrigerant piping over electrical panels.
Okay. Well, talk to your engineers, see what they
Yeah,
say.
yeah, it's a good point. We would save on some duct, right? Some below grade.
Yep.
Dominic, I wonder too if we could flip some of those units to the kind of bottom of the page outside the electric room rather than meeting room to reduce some of those runs, maybe.
I think don't we have roll-up generator and
we do there. Yes, you're right.
I think we have also the PV panel. We got some stuff there that we need access to. Yeah. Um, so continuing on, we have some schedules of all the mechanical equipment. Moving on to electrical, again, front end of drawings. Here we're highlighting, oops, the pathway for overhead electrical service. We also have site lighting incorporated in this plan. We've reviewed with our code consultant, and we feel like we may be able to eliminate some of these. We currently have light poles at these HH locations. We do need lighting at the parking lot, but we could potentially see some savings if we omit these. We have light bollards around the egress path. These are required by code. So we're meeting those requirements by locating those there. So this plan really highlights some outlets. We can revisit this, Marianne. I know this was something that we looked at, through early parts of DD, I believe. So again, we'll continue the coordination here, make sure that all your requirements are being met. This is a switch plan. Again, we can coordinate on all of this. And then we have some schedules, electrical schedules. Then moving from our into our lighting consultant. This is a control plan, which to me looks like a placeholder. I think these potential. I still have to go over this with our lighting consultant. We took a very high level strategy, I believe, on exterior lighting, public spaces to be zoned together. Meeting room is completely independent. A lot of these smaller spaces are localized, local switches. Adults and children's would be zoned independently of each other. We're going to do more coordination here, and obviously it's something that we'll coordinate with you as well on that. This is the schedules for the lighting control zones. I still need to coordinate on this, so we own the scope, and we're continuing coordination here. Just flicking through the lighting plan. Again, I went through it high level in the RCP. Not much has changed from when Lamb presented to you. We're going to go through individual selections again. So we definitely are not settled on any of this right now, but we will continue.
Generally, the lights between the baffles are what?
So it's a track system, and then it's this little 4-inch LED track mounted fixture.
Is it a pendant?
No, well, no, it's not a pendant. It's basically track mounted and directional. I don't have an image of it. I don't know, Matt, if I'm missing an explanation of that.
No, that's right. They're like down spots. They're
it's 4-inch round,
4-inch fixture.
Yeah,
and they're the idea is that they're tucked up in between the beams and the baffles, so that they're pretty discreet. So it's providing the illumination without calling a lot of attention to the light source, was the idea.
Okay.
Yep. And the last section is photovoltaic panels. There's a lot of information here. We're able to produce annual production of 53 megawatt hours. which meets the requirements for the building. You see the layout here. More kind of layout details, some ground coordination.
When you say it meets the requirements of the building, does that mean that it provides more power than the building uses? Is that
Net
what-
zero, right. And as I say that, I don't know what the overage is. So that would be good information to have as well. So I'll get that to you. What's the projected overage? Or, you know, where do we stand on use, on building use?
Right.
Yep. Moving on. Some conduit run details here. This is a plan showing the structural grid that's going to hold the panels, the attachments to the standing seam roof, and the layouts of that, the stipulations for that. Getting into the nitty-gritty here of detailing the exact connections. We're rolling these back into our drawings as well, coordinating on that. Roof penetrations. We will need 2 roof penetrations for power, I believe. So those things we're still coordinating. Some more mounting details. And again, this is in the electrical room, what's required for the cabinets, the inverters. We're coordinating with the electrical engineer already on all of this, making sure we have enough room. Wall fasteners, connections. This is the exterior meter assembly. We still need to coordinate that with the roll-up generator. And then we have electrical plans here with some additional info at the back end. Kind of race through that last section there. That really makes up the drawing set for DD pricing. In an hour and a half. Not too bad. I'd open it up to
Overall, it's a good
questions.
set of drawings.
That's a question of perspective, Dominic.
Agreed, good drawings.
You guys did a good job. I was impressed.
Thank you. I'm happy to answer questions as they come up as well. If you think of more, you've brought up some good questions. I'll get feedback to you when I can.
Dominic, just one question on those downlights.
Yeah.
If you recall, I can't remember if it was Mary Ann or whether it was the MBLC expressed concern about lighting of the shelves at lower elevations.
Yep.
And I just
That
want
was
to make
me.
sure that we think those light fixtures are going to solve that problem.
Yeah, and apologies, I missed some fixtures that we do have specifically for that. So you can see here at these shelving niches, we actually have standoff linear fixtures that are wall grazers specific to lighting these niche conditions. They're installed at about 9, no, it's going to be lower than that. 7'6", 8 feet, something like that. So it's relatively low and directly above these shelving units.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Dominic now? Penny.
I had a question. I looked through the that really long spec document that Marianne provided to us. And
Yep.
in that, I didn't see anything listed about the photovoltaics.
Yes, so we will be getting a spec section from them for the CD set and for permitting. What we did end up getting is a very healthy drawing set from PV. And so a lot of
You are getting a cost estimate for that, right?
that's right. Yeah, that is included. So for this DD set, the way that Solar Design, our consultant, worked was that, you know, the drawing set, which is what yeah, it's over 10 pages, even more. It looks like it's close to 20. Is very detail orientated, covers a lot of that. But yes, we will be getting a spec section for permitting and for construction. But this was extensive and all we needed for DD pricing. Yep. Thanks for bringing that up, though.
Any other questions? Dominic, thank you for going through this with us. I'm
Absolutely.
totally
Apologies on the
overwhelmed
delay.
myself.
Yeah. Apologies it took so long. Thanks again to everybody for your patience as we were trying to get landscape and civil together for this effort.
All right. Moving along. We're only about an hour behind. Update on the site work. Mary Ann, do you want to give the update on that?
So last week, the survey crew came out and staked the limit of work and the 100-foot buffer zone, where it, so that we could, count the trees that will need to be removed during construction. And then, so the survey crew came on Wednesday, and then Elaine and Penny and I spent several hours, and Greg Tizzulo from Stimpson Associates helped us a little bit. But we were there for 2 or 3 hours counting trees. So we measured the trees and marked them and made a chart according to the Conservation Commission's regulations, so that the landscape designer could then recommend the number of trees that would need to replace those trees. They're still working on that for the NOI. We expect to see a draft of the NOI tomorrow or Thursday. And then the NOI needs to be submitted by December 28th, so that the Conservation Commission can open a hearing at their January 11th meeting.
So that kind of rolls in the update on the site work and the review of the next steps in the process. The NOI is our committee's next real push.
That and then the cost estimate next week.
Right. That's
Yeah.
not something that we have
Right.
any control,
Right.
but
Yeah.
Dominic, you said that the cost estimate should be in by when?
We have it, and we need to have another meeting with our cost estimator to go over the fine details and make sure that we reconcile what we have in hand. So there are items in there that we need clarification on. We've had all our consultants review their specific divisions, and we have numerous questions. So we don't have anything to share tonight because we're not comfortable giving you a number that we haven't vetted yet. So we're still in the process of vetting that. And by next week, we'd like to share that with you. We're not quite where we want to be. And we feel like there's some room to tighten the number. And next week, we want to present that to you.
We're not too far off, which is good. I mean, we feel like the first order of business is to have a conversation with our cost estimator to make sure that we're confirming some of the questions that we had. Some of that we think will move the needle in terms of cost. On top of that, we've also been developing a list in-house and with our consultants of places where we feel like we can reduce costs. And some of those came up today or tonight. And so next week we'll come with a list of, these are the strategies that we have to get us where we need to be. And we feel like we're close enough that it's manageable. I mean, there's some work to do, but we're hoping that some of that is kind of taken care of for us by virtue of this call that we have with our estimator to review some of the questions that we have.
Okay, so everyone is aware that we are meeting December 28th at 7 p.m. And hopefully you will all be able to be there.
That a Zoom meeting or in person?
It's Zoom.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I can check what the town calendar looks like for that night. Nobody has anything scheduled for that night, so I don't know, Marianne, what do you think? Should we?
I can ask Becky. It's sometimes when we try to do a hybrid meeting, we run into a conflict with
Right,
the select board, but they don't usually meet on a Thursday.
right.
So would you like, I mean, I don't think we're gonna all meet in person. But Jeff, would you like us to be in person in town hall in a hybrid
Well,
fashion?
we're gonna go over a VE list. There could be a lot of blood. So,
Yeah, maybe we should be in person.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
right.
So the chances are good. I mean, the problem is we have one room set up to have a hybrid meeting.
Right.
So I'll try and get us the room. I'll start working on that now. And if I can't get the room, then we'll just be on on Zoom. But if we can be in person, we'll be in person.
And I am on vacation next week. I am not around. I'm away. I'm hoping that I can get the list so that if I have a moment to review it, I can send comments. So I would appreciate that being sent. Thank you.
Will do.
I am also not going to be able to attend next week. Dominic's going to be there on behalf of the office. But Dominic, I think we could probably circulate a list ahead of time along with the estimate to give. It'd be great if people had 24 hours at least to kind of review the document, review the list, so that they come to the meeting with sort of already having kind of taken a quick look at it and maybe have some specific questions.
Absolutely. That would be appreciated. Okay. So I think those are our two next steps in the process. Are there any committee liaison reports?
Can I ask what the CD phase looks like as far as meetings and things goes? Do we still work with the design subcommittee having meetings every other week? Just anyway, if you could explain how that's gonna work. That would be great. Oh, is this the schedule?
Oh boy, this is really, I'm back to my old. Sorry, I thought I'd just flash this up so we could speak to it. Yes, I think that we should have sub-design committees and continue on I think we will have a few more milestones on the design side. So we're going to have like a 60% coordination set and a 90%, I believe. This is finally coming through here. Yeah. So there, we need some town agency, coordination and meetings. The fire department, I want to review again, police chief, so there's a few departments that'll be, we still need to do a bunch of coordination. And then as far as our cadence with you as a group, bi-weekly, I guess, and whether it's subcommittee and then committee, subcommittee, committee, and I'm happy to work on that kind of cadence again. And Marianne, maybe there's some, there's a couple of very high, very specific programming conversations you and I can have that I think, are very, we really lean on to really work out some of the micro programming of certain elements as well, that we then bring back to the subcommittee and committee. So I'm happy to keep going on a bi-weekly cadence, if that makes sense.
Okay, yep, I was just, wondering. And then that first meeting would be maybe in that first week of January.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, but we can schedule that next week. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mary Ann, one thing I'd like to bring up if I could.
Mm-hmm.
As part of our original fee proposal for our services, we left pre-qualification of general contractors sort of up in the air.
Yep.
So that is a process that takes time. And if we are planning to hold, I'm trying to draw the line here, a mid-April bid date, we should target a pre-qual advertisement no later than the middle of January timeframe. That will give us, it's about a 3-week process to get it advertised and solicited. And then once proposals come in, depending on the number of applicants, it can take 4 to 6 weeks to chase down references and obtain the necessary information and feedback to bring back to the committee and make a recommendation. So I don't want to lose track of that. I'm not advocating it one way or the other. It's not a decision that we have to make right away, but we will be bringing that back, for some definitive action or inaction by the committee by mid-January. So it's just
Okay.
something to think about.
So we should maybe put that on the agenda, maybe for the meeting after next, and schedule a meeting in the first week of January to talk about that.
Okay.
A full committee meeting. Okay.
So, like, when you say the first week of January, the week of the 1st or the week of the 8th?
I think the week of the 1st.
Okay,
Okay, because if that needs to go out mid-January,
Okay.
if we're gonna go through that process.
okay, so then January 2nd is a Tuesday. So if everybody could put that on their calendar, I'll schedule that.
Okay.
Mary Ann, I'm not gonna, if everyone is gonna be available to review next week,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a long agenda topic. It's a pretty quick conversation. It's really just obtaining a decision and direction from the committee to move forward or not.
Okay,
It's
well,
pretty straight. I'll
okay.
walk through the process. It's pretty straightforward.
okay,
And we go from there.
So do you want to
Okay.
put it on next week's agenda?
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
okay.
all right.
Matt, do you wanna, well, you and I can talk offline. You can share your opinions and I'll happily present them or have Dominic present them on your behalf.
Great.
Okay.
All right, is there any other business that anyone has to bring up? Anything else? Hearing nothing else, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make
Okay.
a motion to adjourn.
I was wondering who was gonna do that.
I second.
All right. Roll call vote, Antonellis,
Antonellis, aye.
Dalmas,
Almus, aye.
Foster is not here. Hool,
Cool, aye.
Jakes. You're
Jake
muted.
Shy.
Quackenbush,
Malcolm Bush, aye.
Paleo, I make note that this meeting was adjourned at 8:54 p.m. Have wonderful holidays, everyone. I hope you enjoy whatever you're doing.
Happy
Thank
holidays.
you.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
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 all.
Yes,
You as well.
yes.
Bye.
Right.
Good night.
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 Night.